I've been asked to answer some of the frequently asked questions concerning the Harbinger. And because it's spread really so rapidly, there's a lot of questions that come to us. And one of them is, there's a story, so, what is that? Did a man come to you and give you these seals? Are you the prophet? Are you Noriel? And the answer is this. The revelations of the Harbinger are all real. That's fact. What the prophet says about America, Israel, that's real. And you can go on the internet and check it out. It's real. But the story, the framework is the story. And so it's kind of like the story is the delivery system. I originally wrote it straight out, nonfiction, but then I was led to put it in this form as God communicates truths in the Bible throughout with parables and stories and revealing spiritual truths, prophetic truths, through pictures and images, and to make it more accessible, because the Harbinger has a lot of deep things in it, to make it very easy to just pick it up and get it. So that's why I did it. Once I did it, that's when it started flowing out as if the book was already written. So the answer is that I pretty much split my voice, instead of teaching it just straight out, through the prophet, speaking through the prophet and speaking through Noriel. And so again, the framework, the story is the delivery system, or the means or the vessel to get the truth out. What the prophet speaks is all real. People are asking, are you writing a sequel? And by the time you see this, who knows? But the answer right now is this: the Harbinger. You can't just write my thoughts down. The Harbinger is not a book you can do that. God has to do something, and God has to reveal it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I do have enough to do another full book that would be the sequel to the Harbinger. The Harbinger was part of things that I wrote down after 9/11, and there's over 2,000 pages. The Harbinger was part of that, so there's a lot more. But there are two reasons I'm not doing it yet at the time of this recording is I'm waiting on the Lord, number one. Number two, I've gotten very strong leading that I have to wait anyway, because the word of the Harbinger is still going forth, and not to do anything yet that could turn the attention to something else. So at the right time, I know I will write that book at the right time. People have asked, can I actually see where the Harbingers took place? And the answer is yes. The key sites are New York City and Washington, D.C. Of course, Washington, D.C. is obvious, the capital, but New York City, it's all in Lower Manhattan. You can actually see the sites that were there because it's all real. And a lot of people have been coming from around the country, and they come to see it, and then they come to see us on the weekend at the Jerusalem Center. There are also misconceptions with the Harbingers. Some have said, are you saying that America is Israel? And not at all. Or some people believe in something called replacement theology, and that's absolutely not biblical, that God has replaced Israel. Absolutely not. God's promise to Israel is true and is forever, and I'm part of Israel. I wouldn't replace myself with myself, but the church hasn't replaced Israel, it joins Israel. And America is America, but America was founded after the pattern of Israel. Now, you don't even need that for the Harbinger to appear. God could have given biblical Harbingers to any nation, but the fact that America was actually founded by the Puritans after the pattern of Israel, and we've been blessed, now we're falling away after the pattern of Israel, it makes perfect sense that the same pattern would now manifest. Another thing is that a misconception is that the Harbinger is saying that Isaiah was prophesying of America. That's not what it says. Isaiah was prophesying of Israel. However, it forms a biblical template and pattern, which is very basic. That, in other words, God judges nations. God also warns before he judges, and God acts consistent with his word. So there are patterns in the Bible, or biblical templates, how God judges or warns a nation, templates of national judgment. So what happened in Isaiah is replaying now. So Isaiah, in its context, is to Israel, but as a sign, here is a message of warning to America. And that is the distinction. And so when I speak about the ancient mystery that is behind this, the ancient mystery is the mystery of judgment. It is now manifesting in America. Another thing to be clear in the revelation of the Harbinger is that it's not about the people involved. It's not about any political figure involved, and it's not about anybody knowing what they're doing, because the amazing thing from the harbinger of the stone or the tree or the speeches, the exact words, is that nobody was trying to make it happen. It just happened. So it's not about the people, it's not about any one person. It's about the fact that they're manifesting. I mean, listen, even the terrorists were in this, and they certainly didn't know what they were doing. They weren't reading Isaiah, but all these things happened in a way that no human hand could have made happen.